Sensitive content incoming.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 20 of the Squatch and Yeti Show. I'm Squatch.
No, I'm Yeti.
It's been a couple weeks since our last episode. Been having some not so fun things happening.
Yeah, my fault.
It happens though, man. Like,
It's not supposed to happen. What do you mean?
dude, we work in the medical field. We get exposed to all the icky, gross things.
Yeah. For y'all who don't know, Squatch and I work in a nursing home, and we've been taking care of people who have been like pretty ill, I would say, and I'm guessing I contracted the same illness, like.
Apparently.
Because last week when we were supposed to record, I woke up hugging the toilet with my butt cheeks. So,
That's a horrible image.
I mean, yeah.
Sorry to
It's
any
not-
listeners that are have a graphic imagination.
I'm not. You have an imagination. That's good. Good on you still.
Well, hope you're feeling better now. You seem a little more alive than you have been.
Yeah, I'm just really tired because then on Saturday, which you witnessed some stuff with me, I had a bit of an issue with my blood pressure. And yeah, just hasn't been fun for me lately. But I'm alive.
Not.
I am alive, unfortunately.
Well, I'm glad you're alive. Glad we're here, able to record another episode and all this.
Yes'm. I'm excited to still be here.
Excuse me. Got to stay hydrated and drink all the waters and whatnot.
Excuse me. Still waking up. It's Saturday. I told you earlier before we started this recording, man. I was like, Saturday, dude, that is the highest I've ever seen my blood pressure, and it really took it out of me. But
Yeah. Got to watch that stuff, man. It's
how am I supposed to watch it? It's like I already know. Lose weight, get some blood pressure meds. I'm working on them.
Us big boys got to stay on top of that stuff.
Yeah. Slowly am learning that. Maybe I should. I don't know. There's not really a quick and easy way to fix it, is there? You just
Really strict diet, really strict exercise.
Yeah, but I don't have anything strict other than my want for red flags.
As in, you strictly look for them.
You shush. I like carnival rides, okay? But anyway.
She's got 4 baby daddies and 5 kids. Oh my God, sounds like the fair.
Dang right. Works for me.
She said she's going to vote for Kamala. She might be the one.
She is the one.
The one that will bring disorder to the force.
Yes. So
it's election year. I got to throw in all my
I was going to say so.
political stabs I can.
No worries on this part, man.
So,
no worries.
To kind of jump into it and piggyback off our last episode talking about all the different kinds of dragons and
Darragons.
You mentioned a really cool topic, so I want to talk about this. We usually do my topics.
Continuing forth with the medieval stuff?
Yeah, medieval stuff, and I kind of want to subdivide it and do like real life and like fantasy.
Would you like real world, like
like
like real medieval stuff versus like the fantasy stuff, or
yeah, like I mean we can talk about it both together, but like just kind of like I'm gonna jump right into as far as like medieval fantasy, like what is your favorite like part of that kind of stuff?
of medieval fantasy?
Yes.
Honestly, it's just the whole, like, it's the entirety of the imagination to still maintain that. Like, still still wanting to, and maybe they still exist, believe in like fairies and such, and not those kind of fairies, but we know what we're saying. And I don't know, dude. Like I remember as a kid, like I was a big fan of dinosaurs and dragons and stuff, which still somewhat am. Like haven't seen any of the new Jurassic Park films because they're all kind of garbage, kind of like the new Star Wars films. But I really enjoyed medieval stuff because it just makes sense. Like the way that they were able to just overcome such craziness, but then still continue forward. Like being able to make something out of nothing was insane. Like it's kind of like with the birth of America, like back in the 1700s and stuff, man. Like
Yeah.
that kind of stuff is so interesting to me. Like they believed in a lot of pottery and all that kind of junk. That stuff doesn't exist nowadays, but I feel like maybe it should make a comeback. So learning old school, like I don't want to say archaic, like that wouldn't be the right word, because like that's more like magical stuff, I feel like
primitive
type
like stuff.
Yes. So like one of the most fascinating things for me is that they were heavily use of what was it, like scythes and whatnot.
Yeah.
I've really been looking into it. I feel like scythes, we have a misunderstanding of those, and I'm going off on different topics here, but it all correlates, I promise. Like, if you look at what they were able to do in their cultures with, like, just very primitive farm tools and tools, a scythe is much more friendly for the world entirely, as opposed to a riding mower.
Yeah.
And with that, I went down a rabbit hole, and I was like, dude, this is awesome. Like, they're blacksmithing back then. They made plate mail. Mm-hmm. They made chain mail for different circumstances. Like, dude, it's just phenomenal. Like, they were able to do so much. And so, like,
well, like, even with the concept of, like, the chainmail or whatever, that, you know, they still use that today. Like, when you go diving with a shark suit,
it's a chain.
What you're wearing.
The chainmail suit, no, I get it, and it's crazy. It's a little bit better designed now.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's design, but it's the same concept.
Yes,
like, same, very similar design.
That's all it is just chainmail. But it's, I don't know, it's fascinating to me because they were some of the first people to like actually create toilet systems and stuff. They weren't the greatest, no.
Yeah,
but I mean, there's a lot of customs today. Like I still use, like if it's somebody I see kind of sketchy, I will actually, when I go to shake their hand, I won't shake their hand. I'll grab their wrist and shake their wrist, which I don't know if anybody knows this or not, but in medieval times, a lot of assassins trying to get at people or whatever, or people trying to kill you to take what you got. So they would hide blades or something like in the cuffs of their sleeves. And that's where also, just another fun fact because of the grossness, you wiped with your hands, you know?
Yeah.
They wouldn't hand to hand. They would grab your forearm, and that was your form of security. You were checking to see if they had a blade in their arm sleeve or strapped on or something.
It's funny you mentioned like the wiping thing, because I remember seeing this on a show years
ago. That's the thing you focus on.
No, because I had seen this on a show, and this guy, he was in the bathroom, and like he gets done, you know, he's peeing, goes to wash his hands, says, you know, hey, how's it going, to the guy walking from the other urinal.
Yeah.
And the guy hadn't washed his hands yet, reaches out to shake his hand, and he's like, he didn't know what to do, so he like did like the arm grab with him.
Yep.
And he's like, why can't you just shake my hand? He goes, oh, this is, you know, much more masculine, and, you know, grabbing arms and like just trying to cover himself.
Yeah.
But, like, it's, sorry, you triggered a random memory from.
This is so weird. That sounds like, why is that is the thing you're focusing on? Is the wiping. Okay. But yeah, I've always found it interesting. And then I've always been fascinated with like the whole knights and stuff. So
see, my favorite thing, well, I mean, fantasy wise, if for like the medieval era
No.
was like I just love the story of like King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table and
Yeah.
anything kind of tied to knights because yes, I mean like any warrior there was some messed up ones, but
Yeah.
there was like this honor with knighthood, you know, like
Yeah. I mean,
I and you know it even ties in with like the Vikings, samurai, stuff
Yep.
like that. Whether they were doing good or bad, there was like a sense of honor with it.
yeah.
You know,
Right.
and like I don't knock any modern like, you know, military personnel or nothing like that, but being in war nowadays and being like in the military, I'm not saying there's plenty of honor in that.
Yeah.
But I don't know, back then like it was maybe
was like-
and maybe it had to do with, you know, the men back then had much more patriotism to their country, so they were like I would die for this country right now, you know.
Yeah, I think it's more or less like there wasn't really a whole lot going on back then, but what was going on, you kind of like you dedicated your life to it.
And it was like, you know, like if you were a knight and you were really awesome and you worked your way up in the ranks, like you could go from being like a nobody to a lord.
I was gonna say, I
and
think
have
that's
like people under you, kind of have
I know
a
it's
sense of royalty.
well, see, I know it's kind of cliche to say or whatever because like A Knight's Tale with the
Yeah.
Heath Ledger and everything, I know it's just a film, but I honestly think there was probably some truth to it. Maybe not like all the craziness because it made it entertaining, right?
Well,
Excuse
yeah.
me, but the squire becoming a knight, that kind of thing, makes absolute sense because you can't tell me that a knight wasn't taking his band with him, so to speak, to go on conquests or whatever, or go fight for such and such. And as doing as such, he needs to have his equipment.
Yeah.
You can't tell me he wasn't felled at some point, and then the guys that like helped him get to where he was, one of them didn't pick up his blade and continue his name.
Yeah.
Like, so that's why I'm using A Knight's Tale best I can because like that's like they in the beginning of that film, like that's what happens. Like their knight dies and they pick up his occupation because like they wanted to do it too, and they just used his name, but then find out anyway, we all know Knight's Tale.
Yeah.
But like it's that kind of stuff that makes me really enjoy it. And plus like we talked about this on the last episode, the Dragonheart film.
Oh,
dude, that is like the epitome of a medieval film. There's dragons, there's to a degree some magic, the whole dragon magic of keeping the guy alive. There's the knights and everything. It's really cool. It's like the whole good versus what the hell? The good versus evil type thing. And
I'm just gonna say it like Dragonheart was. If it wasn't for Dragonheart, we would not have stuff like Game of Thrones and all that.
yeah, no, yeah.
Like
I don't know when Game of Thrones was first, published and everything, but I feel like
I don't think if it wasn't for the success of like Dragonheart and stuff like that,
like
back in
medieval
the day,
movies and stuff. Yeah,
like they wouldn't have given that book a chance to become a series. Or
no, they probably wouldn't have. And it's Lord of the Rings, I think, does a really good depiction of like medieval times. Like it's got a hell of a lot of fantasy to it, which I really enjoy. Like I'm not one of those people who is like super into it where I will go out and LARP or whatever, which if y'all don't know what LARPing is, that's live action or role playing. You are just playing with toys, essentially, out in the middle of a field and reenacting like fights and stuff in your imagination and such.
Well, have you seen, talking about knights, and I don't know, I think it's in like Europe and stuff, maybe South America. They do, it's kind of like UFC, but it's like knights. Like they wear armor.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Have like axes and stuff.
Kind of like how like medieval times are, like that restaurant / show theater type thing. It's kind of like that, but real. Like, I've seen it.
Well,
they were quite literally beating each other. wear full plate mail and they have to have regulations though, which they do.
Well, like I know, like the blades aren't like
Yeah,
super
they're-
sharp or whatever.
They're more dull than anything.
So I don't know how true this is, but one of the guys here in town, you've seen him walking around like a wizard.
Yes,
I think currently he's like dressed like the Men in Black right now.
of course.
He has like I don't know if it's like his friend, boyfriend, whatever the guy is.
Yeah.
They either dress like wizards or like wear like suits. Like I don't know if they're like the Magical Blues Brothers, maybe.
I don't know.
But anyways, I remember one of them telling me one time that I saw him walking around in a suit of armor.
What?
You know, most people see a guy walking around a small town in a suit of armor and they assume drugs and just go on. I gotta ask.
I don't assume drugs.
I pull over and I'm like, "Hey, bud, what you doing? You okay? When you call somebody?"
Yeah.
And he proceeded to tell me how he was training for this thing, kind of like the whole medieval UFC thing. And
Yeah.
he goes, "It's like the last true blood sport, and like the swords and everything are dull, but you know it's like first one to draw blood on the other guy wins." He's like, "It may just be like a nick on the arm, but
I don't know about that, but
I'm like, my thing is like, can I test how dull his blade is first? Like,
yeah, because like
I don't want to just like take your word for it. And,
I mean, it might be first to draw blood, but I don't think so. I feel like it's like a point system, like in karate and such.
Yeah.
Like where like if you land a blow on somebody that quotation marks fatal, right?
yeah,
That's a point to you. You win the
I don't
round.
know, but like, I mean, I would go watch that.
I know, I would too, but like that's like what I've seen what you're talking about. Like, but the thing is you got guys in there like you and me who are monstrous. Like they train to do that. Like they train to beat you, and by beat you, I mean you can feel their punch through the padding, through the plate mail. So it's like, ugh.
Listen, I got to be honest. If I ever heard there was a team looking for like a big burly guy to be there, I would train for it.
Of course you would. You get to be violent and all this kind of stuff for like maybe the chance at some money. You would do it just not even about the money.
Probably
you would
do it
just
for fun.
you would just do it for fun. Let out some aggression. Let's see if I can break this guy's freaking halberd in half real quick. Let me
But
just.
here's the deal: if the opportunity ever arises, I'll do that, and you can just do like, what was the guy from A Knight's Tale? The one that wound up playing Vision. I forgot his name.
Oh, the guy who was telling the
naked
stories.
guy.
Yeah,
You can be that guy for me.
Oh hell, I can't remember what his title was. He said, but yeah, I don't mind that. Yeah, I'd be your hype man, so to speak. I wouldn't be naked, so get that image out of your head. I mean, maybe we could arrange something for an extra couple schmeckles, but
So, like, looking further into the fantasy thing, what are some of your favorite like medieval like fantasy creatures?
medieval fantasy.
What's your favorite one?
I think we've already talked about that. Those dragons.
Okay,
But-
besides dragons,
Okay,
like,
aside from dragons,
you brought up like Lord of the Rings, so like
So I want to veer off from the Lord of the Rings because, like, I know when you say orcs, that's what everybody thinks of. They think of like Lord of the Rings orcs or whatever, right?
yeah,
I want to say like I would probably want to. I like the faction of orcs, like not what we were seeing depicted in Lord of the Rings, but like what was it, Warhammer and stuff, or World of Warcraft kind of has like the bigger,
yeah,
like they're always given a bad rep for like being just belligerent idiots, but they're like the closest thing I would say to like the Viking style in medievalish stuff.
yeah. So I know
Like they're
we've
very
kinda-
brutal, very primitive to a degree, but like they're very their code of honor is you live by the sword, you die by the sword type thing.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of cool to me.
See, I know we've talked about this a little bit, like off the mic, but like, yeah, I used to watch the show, the Shannara Chronicles, and it was like a MTV like fantasy thing.
Yeah.
But the orcs in that book and that show, like they're not like, I mean, they're still like brutal, but they're portrayed more as like these maniacal, like demonic masterminds.
Wow. Yeah,
And they're not like, Lord of the Rings, where the orcs are like this is kind of like Dawn of the Dead, like zombie type thing with an axe,
Yeah.
Like, and that's what like the scenes where like Legolas and like the dwarf are like having the competition.
Yeah.
And they just portray the orcs as like zombie hordes.
Yeah, I mean,
Which is cool. I mean, they kind of, I guess, in that lore, they are like zombie elves.
yeah, they are zombie elves because, like, from my understanding of it, elves pass away, however, felled in battle, whatever. They, become those. Like,
Yeah.
they become an orc because, like, they get like cocooned or something, I guess, in some weird like membrane from what it looked like in the movies. But like that's what I was saying. Like I don't like that portrayal of orc. I like the portrayal of orc that's in like Warhammer. The Warhammer orcs are fucking stupid. Like they're more just brutish, like 4-year-olds, and it's just they're funny as hell. But in like World of Warcraft, though, those kind of orcs are what I really enjoy because they can communicate. They're not just speaking nonsense. They have an understanding of like society and everything, all that kind of shit. But they're still hulking creatures. Like they're still bigger than humans, I would say. It's a game that does really good depiction of orcs is the Elder Scrolls. Elder Scrolls does really good depiction of orcs, and that kind of stuff is just I think it's cool. It's all about the Oonga Boonga and not the big brain.
I love the orcs and stuff. I do, but like probably my favorite, like I guess fantasy like being creature.
Mm-hmm.
I would actually have to go with like elves, the way they're portrayed in a lot of fantasy cultures. Not like, for anyone out there thinks I'm being childish, not Santa Claus's helpers. Like kind of with Lord of the Rings, like how like, I mean, me, I have a thing for archers. I think they're awesome.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're very nimble, very like, accurate with their
Legolas
strikes.
Was like he made Robin Hood and the Green Arrow look like shit. Okay. Which, by the way, another like medieval like fantasy tale that I love, Robin Hood.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Dude, it's so freaking awesome.
It reminds me of a thing I saw on I was doom scrolling, and I came across a little short, and the guy kills something. Like they're playing a video game. He like steals a kill from one of his buddies, and he's like, I'm like Robin Hood. I steal from the rich and give to myself. And he's like, that's just common criminal. It's like you're just a thief. You're just a Robin guy. Like there's nothing good about that. He's like, you're just your average common criminal with extra steps. This shit killed me. I can see that being the thing. I'm a fan of Robin Hood. I like to steal from the rich and give to myself.
But like in a lot of like fantasy stuff, I know elves, like they're very like nimble, quick warriors, but they're also portrayed as like very highly intelligent.
I was gonna say that they're also very perceived as like really intelligent beings because like they've been around for
centuries.
Ever. Yeah. I don't mind dwarves as well. Like, what is it? I want to say, like the technology type dwarfs, like where they use more like runic sorcery type stuff. I guess like that kind of stuff I find to be fascinating. Like they build like mechanical stone stuff or like this the way dwarves make things, I think, is cool as shit. Like it's pays absolute homage to their lore, to their myths and everything, and it's just cool as shit to me as well.
Yeah, honestly, the dwarf was like my favorite character in Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
like I the first. So the last couple Lord of the Rings movies, I watched them because I was invested in them.
Yeah.
And I like Lord of the Rings. That's not something I can just sit there and dive into.
It's kind of hard for, like, I'm in the same boat. Like, if it...
And Star Wars has even gotten that way with me.
Yes.
Because, like, those are movies and books and all that you have to, like, dedicate some time to.
Yep. And there's so many different spin-offs of them and whatnot that... You don't really know what's canon and what's not. And if I'm not mistaken, isn't there for like Lord of the Rings a series called like the Rings of Power or something?
Yeah, it's like a precursor to The Hobbit.
Yeah. Yeah,
I haven't to The Hobbit.
I haven't seen.
And so Lord of the Rings, I watched the movies and then tried reading the books.
I feel like it should be the opposite, but yes.
Well, here's my thing though, because like with everything, if you read the book, you watch the movie, you're like, where's this?
Yeah.
What's that? What? No, it didn't go like that.
A lot of Harry Potter people, I'm assuming, are like that.
Like, and so after like getting into Lord of the Rings, I discovered about The Hobbit. So I read The Hobbit, and then when they did a movie of The Hobbit, I was like, nope.
Yeah,
I'm watching it.
I mean, it's the same thing with us in our comic stuff. Like,
yeah,
like we know the Punisher to be ungodly brutal. And then, like, we see the film, it's like, oh, he's having a cup of tea, playing Barbie with his roommates. Why does he have roommates? He's the Punisher. So, yeah, like, I get it.
Like, I mean, at least I can say, like, with a lot of the comic book universes, they kind of, like, with the MCU,
I think they do better with it.
Like, with the MCU, like, they pull from the comic stories, but ultimately, like, they're doing their own storyline.
Yeah, like they pull inspiration from it. Yeah, I get it.
And like Snyder's Justice League and all that, like, and Batman versus Superman, like, they had already, before he was ever in the show, killed off Dick Grayson. Yeah, and that left me puzzled because, like, if it would have been like, like that it was Jason Todd's suit, would have been like, okay, we know what comes next.
Yeah.
But, it's one of those, like, if you venture off from the book storyline and you do it well, like where it's kind of its own thing, it's okay. But like with Harry Potter, The Hobbit, and all that, they kind of like they venture off but still try to follow the story, and it's like, and I get it, you got to condense a 700-page book down to 2.5 hours.
Basically, like 3-hour-long movies and shit. Yeah.
Like, I know I remember growing up, the first couple Harry Potter movies, maybe up to the third one, they weren't that much different from the books.
Yeah, I remember being a kid.
But those first 3 books were about 300 pages long.
I remember I just used the first Harry Potter film to do my book assignment because I was supposed to read the Emperor's Stone or Philosopher's Stone or Sorcerer Gatstone, whatever. Yeah.
The Infinity Stone.
Yeah, the Infinity Stone of Potter World. I just made a lot of people mad. But yeah, I used the movie and I was like, word for word, like did scenes from the movie, just wrote it out, and I made a B.
Hey, it worked.
I got B for effort, I guess. So, I mean,
the teacher was like, "This motherfucker done watch the movie." I know, because my daughter made me watch this shit last night.
I'm about to say she probably watched the film like the night before. But the dead giveaway probably was the, do you want to stop Snape or not? I'm sorry.
I know you watched the movie, Chance. How do you know that? Because easy. Every time you reference Harry Potter, you went, Potter.
You emphasize Potter. That's how it was in the movie. The book. That's how he was.
It was an extra capital P. Spit on the book and everything. It was weird. It was gross.
I saw his little water damage marks. Was that where the spit landed? Probably.
You know, that's another favorite thing of mine from like medieval fantasy is like the wizards and stuff. Not Harry Potter wizards.
No,
I'm
I know what
sorry.
you mean.
That's like the Twilight of wizards. I will fight with anyone on that.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like when I think of wizards, I think of warlocks.
Yeah.
You know, like
I
Gandalf,
think of
Merlin.
Yep, Gandalf and Merlin. There's like, I know I keep going back to this, but like that Warhammer 40K stuff I'm really into right now.
Yeah.
All it is space wizards and shit, man. Like, but it's the same concept. But there's just this guy's wielding electricity power. He blasts from his hand to unalive the orcs he's fighting in that verse.
Yeah.
So,
like I remember growing up, my favorite story. I don't know. I think I saw it like honestly on Wishbone, and it just got me hooked on it. That like triggered something in a lot of people listening. Haven't thought about Wishbone in years.
oh my goodness, dude!
But it was I love the story of King Arthur, the Sword and the Stone, Merlin.
Yeah, I mean, when you think of like a medieval story, that's the first thing I think of is King Arthur, like Excalibur being pulled from the stone. Which,
you know, fun fact, you know, over in Europe there is a place that it's like in a cliff or in like a like old like medieval time like building there. I think they said it's a cliff, but for some reason randomly for like hundreds of years there's been a sword stuck in the side of it. There's all this like speculation. I can't remember what country it was in now. I like watched a TikTok on it the other day.
Oh, it's TikTok. It has to be true.
Well, no, I went down the rabbit hole like searching all of it because
just making a joke. Yes,
but the thing was like there's all this like somebody put it up there, and I'm like you climb a 300-foot wall for a prank, like
yeah, no.
But here's the thing: it's been there for like I said, like a couple hundred years or something like that. The sword is missing now.
Huh.
It's like, I'm like, okay, did like the next leader of the New World Order like climb that wall and like pull it out? Or, I mean,
maybe the lizardmen came and got it.
Maybe real conspiracy. So hear me out. King Arthur is alive and well. He's actually Spider-Man. He climbed the wall and he grabbed the sword and he was like, this is for Uncle Ben.
This is for Uncle Ben.
And then he made everyone a pot of rice.
Oh, I just had a theory explode from my brain. Yeah, I'm so sorry. I cannot wake up, man. I don't know. Maybe I am dying. I'm sorry, I can't say that word. That word's bad. We don't use those words. I forget it's 2024. We can't use certain words like just beat myself out there. My mom said that to me the other day. I was like, Mom, it's 2024. You can't do that. She just looked at me. She's like, I'm going to beat you. I'm like, you can't do that. That'd be a hate crime then. She's like, you're not of any kind of ethnicity. I'm like, I'm white.
I identify as an albino, Hispanic, non-binomial, binary person.
Oh, dude. I'm sorry. I know we shouldn't.
I was going to add a whole lot
more. I was going to say,
I'm
I'm glad you stopped. Like, I know we're already pushing the limits on that one, but like, dude, just be a human being. Stop being a little pain in the ass to everybody.
Only we can start talking about orcs and elves and some way to find a way to tie racist and sexist humor.
I mean, it kind of correlates 1-on-1.
This is why Facebook won't share on Spotify.
I don't care. It is what it is. We equally hate everyone and everything, okay?
It's true.
Like, just the other day, I'm pretty sure you were hating me, and I was hating myself too. So, it is what it is. But yeah, that's interesting though, because like this is the theory I just had pop into my head: is what if lizardmen are real? And if I'll look into that because I didn't even know that was a thing, but now I'm intrigued by it because how does something like that just go missing? So it leads me to believe is like, what if that's like a key to something, and so they had to pull the sword. Or maybe it's like, okay, we're tired of all like the attention we're getting over here. Let's just relocate this.
Could be.
I mean,
It could be it's been there waiting, and the chosen one was born in another nation,
yeah.
and now it is going to appear somewhere else.
It reminds me of these like weird, really weird reflective columns being placed in certain places of the world. Have you seen those?
Yeah, I've seen stuff about that.
Like, they just randomly pop up. They're like, oh, we don't know if somebody put it here, or if it just like, popped up out of nowhere. I'm just like, well, how reflective the damn material is that it looks like you can barely even see it even existed. I was like, I want to say it was put there.
Yeah, there's so many things in the world that are like just there that Stonehenge.
Yeah.
No one can explain it.
No, I would say, I remember being a little kid and learning about that, and we still don't really have any kind of explanation, or maybe they have and they just haven't like publicly released it, or maybe they did and I'm just haven't found it because I haven't looked into
I've not heard
it.
anything about it, and I'm pretty fascinated by Stonehenge. Like,
I would say, my theory on Stonehenge is that it really is like a portal to somewhere, or multiple doorways to a place, because it looks like damn doorways.
yeah,
You can't tell me it don't. Or maybe from a topside view, it's a portal. Like,
well, so I've heard that like you can like, I don't know if it's true or not, but I heard somewhere like in the middle of Stonehenge, like, so frequencies project differently in there. I don't, with the way the stones are spaced and all that. Don't know the mechanics behind it, because I heard this years ago and I've killed some brain cells since then. But like, so my thing is maybe like, what if it's a certain frequency
that we don't know yet?
that like, or a certain combination of frequencies that can open a portal
Or portals.
Yeah.
I think they're portals, because I don't know. I know we've all played Minecraft. That's exactly how a Minecraft door looks.
Yeah.
Like, am I wrong?
Well, and my thing is like with Stonehenge, it is very obviously something that was built.
Yeah. I mean,
it wasn't like the rocks just formed that. No, they're like
those were placed.
Still is like 3 separate stones.
So what if it's some kind of Celtic like magic that's just been?
And tell me, how have they not eroded greatly?
Yeah,
over the years, like they're still just
they're
ungodly massive.
I say they're still pretty good condition for what they are, because even over time that we've given them already, like there would be some kind of weather to it.
I mean, look in my yard here, soil erosion has made my ditch that goes around my property over the last 10 years go from steep and like 6 foot deep to now it's like barely got a hill to it, and it's like only 2 foot deep now.
Yeah.
So you mean to tell me that those rocks not eroded at all?
I say there's like the ground that they're sitting on hasn't shifted or anything.
And my thoughts are like, okay, well, what if we dug nearby them?
Well,
what if there's who knows what underground,
I can't remember, like, I'm terrible with names, but like the stone heads,
Yeah.
you know what I'm talking about? They actually dug some of them up, and those things are a lot bigger.
Well, yeah, there's like a full body down there.
Like they're a lot bigger than what. It's not just some stone head. Like they're full on statues, and that makes you wonder. Like those either sunk or something happened to build the earth up around them. So like, why hasn't it happened with Stonehenge?
Exactly.
Like that's just like, you can scientifically prove to me this and that, and I will try to understand it. But like, from my general knowledge of understanding how the world works, when the planets move and the ground does move from moisture and such, especially when there's a shit ton of weight on top of it, it sinks, or
40
will
megaton rocks.
Yeah, say it's just gonna sink. It's gonna shift. It's gonna do something. I mean, and people who, and this is off topic to a degree, is the people who don't believe in continental drift are stupid. Like, have you seen that?
No, is that a thing?
Sorry. I'm gonna go off on a little thing here. people don't think that Pangea was real. And that, yeah. Dude, I was like, how can you not understand? And this is something that scares me. You see how the planet is, right? And I know, again, off topic. But we have all these continents that you can kind of like piece back together to make one giant landmass. Mm-hmm. Pangea. Earth used to just be a giant ball of water with a little, like a massive island on it.
Yeah.
People who don't believe that are stupid. Like, sorry, we're talking about like continental, or not continental, but like stones and shit shifting, and it just made me think of like the continental drifts and all that kind of crap, and how like people who still think the world is flat kill me.
Listen, I live by the theory that if the world was flat, I don't know if you owned a cat, but if the world was flat, a cat would have pushed everything off that motherfucker.
Yeah, that's true. What if there is some big cat out there in the universe, though, that's pushing things off the planet? Yeah.
I'm just imagining like in the Norse gods, like the instead of like Gormunder, the world serpent,
instead of a world serpent,
it's a world cat.
Does he have a cat?
Meow.
And just pushing mountains off.
Meow.
Just
the mountain
sitting there
goes.
like, feed me in a minute. Pushes a building off into space. Do not touch that building. But okay, so jumping back into medieval stuff, like I kind of did tie it back in because I mean Vikings were like medieval and stuff too.
Yeah, in their own way.
Well, I mean, like they were around the same time as like the knights and all.
No,
that.
yeah, like I said, in their own way, they were like they didn't have plate mail and shit. I mean, if they did, they snagged it off.
Most of their armor was more like leather based.
I was gonna say their stuff was leather and chain.
Yeah,
like they had a lot of like different. They were the ones. I'm gonna say like they are the ones, but they were some of the ones that really utilized chainmail the most.
Yeah.
And which everybody who knows anything about armor and stuff really sucks against arrows.
Yeah.
And guess who was really good with arrows? Them castles those knights protected had a lot of archers. So,
which is why we have the infamous phrase "shield wall."
Yes, which even that can be penetrated. Which I guess to a degree, like
the Vikings' big thing about them was like they didn't need all the armor because they quite literally had fear on their side.
Yeah,
because
they used scare tactics for sure.
Of like where they fought with the Vikings.
Yeah,
they were like that they just fought like fearless demons, and because I mean, one, they believed if they died wielding their sword or axe in battle, they're going to Valhalla. So that's what they wanted. So they were all like, just ready to go.
Yeah. So they just literally ready to go. Like they.
So out of like the medieval, and like I said, we wrote Vikings into this. Vikings, knights, and I know they were kind of a little after like the knights and all that. But like even factions like samurais and all that, what would you say is like your favorite real like period or whatever?
I'm gonna have to go with like ancient Roman Greece. Ancient Roman Greece. Like as much as I love like Nordic stuff and all that kind of jazz, I really think that ancient Greece and Roman empires were some of the pinnacle of man. Like,
well, I mean, most modern society is modeled after.
I was gonna say
Rome and all that.
Like the infrastructure that Roman Empire did still stands to this day.
Yeah,
it may not be as pristine as it was when they were utilizing it, no, but the fact that it still stands the test of time and you can still go to places and see it is insane.
Well, like the Greeks, I believe, had like the first running water.
Yes, Greeks and Romans had some of the first running water. They learned how to do the cisterns or whatever it was. I think it was. Or
Yeah, I mean the downfall.
I think
is it was
cisterine is
all
the wrong word I'm looking
lead-based,
for.
and it's kind of what led to their downfall.
Yeah, they.
Lead poisoning and inbreeding, I believe. But
Well, I think it was also like they kind of like overreached, if that makes sense, in trying to do their world conquest. Like they kind of overreached,
Yeah.
and with anything, there's gonna be people who want to topple the empire because they don't like what's being done or whatever have you. But I really like Roman stuff is just it's awesome to me. Like Greek stuff, I love all that kind of mythology and whatnot. Aside from the mythology, I really like the real stuff that happened. If I'm not mistaken, over in Italy, you can still see quite a few roads that are still being utilized the same way they
like
were.
their old stone roads.
Yes, they were utilized the exact same way they were when they were first implemented, and
Yeah.
there's roads around here that could benefit from that.
Well,
Like,
yeah, like I've seen the deal on Facebook is a picture of like Greece or whatever is a road built with stones 20,000 years ago. The road built by TxDOT last week. And there's
Well,
like
so, yeah.
potholes everywhere.
There's potholes everywhere, man, and that's the most true thing. And they built things back then to last, like, and they have lasted. The Colosseum, dude,
Mhm.
that place is insane.
Well, and I mean the idea of the Colosseum. Look at every major event place we have in modern society.
Yes.
It's a Coliseum is all it is, you know. Your football stadiums, your baseball parks,
Yep.
basketball, like the Staples Center, all that's just a big Coliseum, you know.
Yep.
And like, I think that's why growing up, like, you know, we've with that stuff, like the Greeks and like the Romans and all that. Like, I love like all the tales of the gladiators and everything. And that, for one, goes to show you that humans have always been attracted to carnage.
Yeah.
You know,
There's always been violence.
We love violence. That's why we watch boxing, MMA.
Yeah, those
you
are
know,
just the new blood
you-
sports.
Who watches football to watch the passes and all that? No, you're watching it for the hard hits. Like, I like watching hockey. I do.
I do.
Because it is
Hockey is
action
fun.
packed.
Yeah.
It is. I mean, they could literally die.
Yeah.
Like, I've watched a game in high school. I can't remember who was playing, but this dude fell on the ice and a dude's skate like caught his throat.
Yeah.
And if he would not have been laying down on that cold ass ice, he would have bled out.
That's fucking wild.
I'm like, that's really fascinating. But like,
No, fascinating. You didn't die because of the ice you're on.
I don't know. It's interesting. Like, I mean, do you imagine like playing that sport, literally knowing you could die like any second now?
I mean, there's a lot of sports that are kind of like that. I feel like rugby is one of the last like true physical sports.
Yeah.
Like, and like them dudes are crazy. Like they're us on steroids. Just, bro, they're brutal. Yeah, the whole hockey stuff, dude, is I enjoy hockey too. I've actually went and seen a Arizona Coyotes and Dallas Stars game, which, by the way, none of them were actual Texans or Arizonians. Like they,
No, like half of them are Canadians. Like,
I say they're Canadians. There's Norwegians and Denmark people
Yeah.
there. Like they're there to play hockey because they like hockey, and we just happen to have a team that they're on. Like they don't care.
yeah, I mean, like, how many Texans you ever met played hockey? I know one.
I don't
personally.
know any.
He was one of my old bandmates, and he his son got into hockey a few
Yeah.
years ago, and he was like always like, man, you know, I've always wanted to learn hockey, but I just never could, you know. And one of the dads on his son's team was like, well, hey, we have like a little like roller hockey team. You should come try out, and like taught him how to play, and now he does like a like kind of a weekend like ice hockey thing too at 35, 36 years old.
That's pretty cool.
And you know, a big fan of like, you know, in this day and age you can do anything you want to.
You know what we need to
With
do? Because this reminds me,
legality.
we should go to Dallas at some point and go see Medieval Times.
Yes, I'm
Like
down.
we need to do that. Just have a bro trip, dude. I'd be up for it.
Watch some jousting, eat that big old turkey leg.
Yeah, I don't care. Someone else have to drive home then, because I would eat too much mutton. Never had mutton. I want to try it. I know it's just lamb, but like I want
It sounds cooler when you say mutton.
Yeah. And last time I had ground lamb. Was the last time I had lamb, and I mixed it with some burger, like ground beef, and it didn't taste good. But I take that back. The last time I had lamb was at a shawarma place up in Tennessee. I wanted to go visit my brother. We went.
After you fought with the Avengers and
No. After I was being heckled by I want to say she was a prostitute. Might have been just a stripper. I don't know. But she was like, "Hey, come to the show," and like handed me a card, and it's like an X-rated card, and I was like, "Oh,
probably a stripper."
Yeah, I mean, she was peering into my soul. I'm not gonna lie. She was on the card. I'm sorry, I was looking. But anyway, I thought
It's not my fault. She looked at me first.
my brother looked at me. He's like, "You want to go to that? Or we get some food?" And I was like, "This is gonna tell you how much of a fat ass I am." I was like, "Let's go get some food, dude. I'm starving." So we went and had
Want burgers or burgers.
We went and had Mediterranean, and dude, that shawarma stuff is
You could have gone to the strip club and had Mediterranean too.
probably could have. But I was
Here I am supposed to be the good guy.
I was already an edible deep, because as we were walking down, Boulevard there in Nashville, like there was a guy just selling edibles. And so brother was like, "Hey, you want to get high?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure. Can I do that right now?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Do you see everybody right now?"
Broadway in Nashville. You can do whatever you want, man.
Yeah, pretty much. That's exactly what he said. He's like, you can literally, he's like, that guy is just standing in the road screaming at people. He's like, what does it matter? He's like, fucking take the edible, man. I was like, all right. So I started to feel good after about the next hour of us walking around. And yeah, I had falafel. I never had that before. That's actually, it's really good food, man. Like, I'm glad I got to experience it, because that kind of stuff has been around forever. And so, super, super tasty. Now I'm getting hungry now. Great. But, yeah, back to keep it on topic. The medieval stuff, like, I've always been interested in, like kind of like you, is the whole Stonehenge and, like, King Arthur. But, yeah, I've always been fascinated by, like I said, just the way they were able to do things, man. Like, look at a trebuchet or a catapult, whatever you want to call it. Dude, those things are insane. How did y'all come up with that? Like, that's the stuff I don't get. Is like,
yeah, I mean, it's the epitome of primitive engineering.
Yes, it's just like, dude, you're telling me that you had the brainfish of a gold, and you just were like, yeah, I'm going to build this thing and then hurl boulders at my enemies. Dude, that's wild. Like, they did things so much differently, but then had such thriving societies and all that kind of stuff, to where we were able to advance as human life to where we are now. Like, that's phenomenal to me. Like, it's things that I can't begin to truly understand and fathom, because obviously I wasn't there. And even if I was there, I probably still couldn't understand it. I could have been the one building it. I'm like, how did he have the idea for this? As I'm like plinking in a giant fucking nail into it.
What it is, the guy that designed it was like smoking on whatever herbal substance they had back then. He's
Probably.
like, if you ever want to
Why does he have to have an accent?
Because it's medieval Europe.
You're stupid. Continue. I'm enjoying
Didn't
it.
talk like me, okay?
Just continue. I'm enjoying it.
Have you ever wanted to hurl a boulder at someone way the fuck over there? What if we took like a giant spoon and like a rubber band and we just...
I don't think they had rubber bands, but yeah.
Whatever. Stretchy, elastic thing.
Probably sinew or something. Like some kind of...
I don't know. I mean, listen, if I went back in time and he didn't have an accent and he talked like me, I would be like, history wasted. Because there's no way.
History wasted.
There's like some like guy over there. All right, man. You know what we gonna do? All right, just hear me out. We're gonna take this big old wooden spoon thing, like the thing your mama used to whoop you with. We're gonna put a big boulder on it and
I don't think that
right in their ass.
I don't think European rednecks sound like that.
No, they sound more like Scottish people, actually.
I was gonna say.
That fun fact, that's actually where the Southern accent
Really?
come from.
Wow.
I was reading somewhere that like the lower parts of the United States, a lot of like breeding with like Scottish people and stuff, or Scottish immigrants. And so, the Scottish, they have that very harsh accent,
Yeah.
and that kind of come over into like Southern American people.
Well, I'm Irish and German. Does that still count?
I mean, there's accents there.
Like, not very polite ones.
See, my favorite people like during that time, I'd almost say it's a two-way tie between like the Vikings and like the samurai.
I thought you were
But
saying.
the samurai, like just a little, I like them a little bit more.
Are you just basing this off of For Honor?
No,
Okay,
I've never actually played that.
just making sure.
But so my thing is like, I mean, for one, like what I liked about the knights and all that was the idea of honor behind all their actions, and I mean that's how the code of the samurai was like.
Yeah.
And plus, I just genuinely love like reading stuff. Like, I actually have a book in my Amazon cart. I want to say it's about like the teachings and stuff of. I still remember his name. It's Miyamoto Hisashi.
Yes. Yeah, he's
famous samurai.
But he's one of the, like, if not the most renowned
swordsman
ever. Yeah.
But like on top of being a swordsman, he was a philosopher, a poet, an
Well,
artist.
Of course he would be. I mean, think about like where all he traveled and everything, and
that's the thing. A lot of those, like especially samurais, but a lot of those warriors back in the day, they were very well read.
yes,
They were very ungodly talented people.
But I say they did not believe. I might be This is just a speculation. They were about being better in all aspects. So they learned to read, they learned to write, they learned to cultivate farming. They did more than just being a sword and shield against things. Like,
well, it's like, and this is a really dumb way to look at it, but one of the Facebook pages I follow it talk a lot about like male life improvement and all that.
yeah,
Excuse me. They were talking about, all these guys, they either want to preach, to get, jacked, do combat sports, or like get really intelligent. And they were like, what's better than a nerd or a bodybuilder? A big old jacked nerd.
so yeah, the combination of the two.
If you were physically and mentally capable,
Yeah,
you are a damn near unstoppable force. Miyamoto Hisashi, on top of being just a great like swordsman, he very like his philosophies on life and all that, very big on like inner peace and self mastery.
sorry, I just you see the way I wield my sword. Very demure, very mindful.
But like, I mean, the dude,
When I write down my calligraphy, you see, I don't put too much ink. I'm sorry.
But like, he did all this like really dope artwork. But then on the flip side, he had probably also taken out more Ronin warriors by the age of 14 than most like other samurai took out in their whole life.
Yeah.
Like, I was reading accounts where supposedly like at 13 years old, he challenged like a whole faction of samurai and single-handedly took out like all 20 of them.
That's fucking wild.
Like, you can, at 13 years old, like, can
13?
you imagine trying to fight 20 trained warriors?
No.
I didn't want to do that now.
I was struggling in school. I can maybe get one now. If I was lucky.
Like if he trips and falls on the way to me. Like,
Yeah. Like,
yeah, I got it.
let's say he tripped and fell on his own blade. Then I'd be all right.
Like, still counts.
Calm down, Gimli. That only counts as one. Oh, hell.
But like, and you know, I love like Japanese architecture.
Dude,
Asian architecture
I was gonna say,
in general is
Asian culture is fascinating to me. And I know a lot of it's still not really approved of by cultures nowadays because, like, the way they do things, I get it. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, like, their honor and their, like, due diligence to their family and stuff. Like, they, unless, like, you completely do something to, like, have your mother and father, like, just, like, renounce you, like, you have support of some form of fashion.
Yeah, and I mean,
Like, whether it might not be the greatest, but you will have support.
well, I think Western culture, we kind of, especially like Chinese people, like they're a lot of times with their kids and stuff, you know, they're like, no, you're not gonna, you know, go do art. You're going to learn this. You're going to help our family thrive. And that sounds hateful because, you know, we were always in the Western world. You can be anything you want, and that's fine and dandy.
Yeah.
But, you know, here's the problem. If we all want to get liberal arts degrees and become painters and stuff, how are you going to help your family thrive? I mean, what? 1 out of every 10 million painters actually sells their work and makes money?
Right.
And let's be real, the ones that actually do make any money at it are like them, like street painters.
Yeah,
And though they're awesome. I'm not knocking them. Like them dudes that'll like have canvas and like random just things to use for shaping and like bottles of spray paint, and like you just see them dragging newspaper across and all this stuff, and then they flip it over and it's the whole galaxy, and you're like, whoa.
or like it's like a photo of some famous person or something.
Yeah, it's like, how did you... I was still trying to figure out what you were doing with that newspaper on the corner
Yeah.
10 seconds ago, and now you've got a whole painting.
We're going to just put a little happy newspaper blotch here and a little happy newspaper blotch here.
Oh, the Bob Ross theory.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. Because that'd be a long one.
That would be a long one.
But, like, I just, you know, the art in, like, Japanese and Chinese culture, I just find very fascinating. I actually was working on a house years ago in East Texas, and so ironically, the guy whose house we had helped him move out, he just left some stuff there, and we were cleaning up. I'm going to go ahead and say this guy was a card-carrying member of the KKK. So, full-blown, you know, racist card. He had, like Japanese artwork up in the back bedroom. And I'm like, did he look at this every day to remind himself that he hated the Japanese or what? Like, I don't...
What the...
But, and so, you know, my dad was working with me. He's like, just throw all that stuff away. And it was like multi-panel, like Japanese artwork. And I was like, no, dude, I want to keep it.
Yeah.
And my dad had damaged one of the panels. And I'm like, and it was like the middle panel too. So it's kind of like,
not really much salvaging it.
and so I was like, well, I took them down. I went to go throw them in the dumpster. And the whole back of this canvas was like World War II era Japanese newspapers. And I was like, no, we can't throw these away.
Some history there.
Like, I don't know what this says, but like, there was like some of the pictures you could tell were referencing like World War II. And I'm like, this is really awesome. And I wanted to keep it. My dad chunked it out because he's like, we ain't got time for that. And, but yeah, like, I find all that stuff really fascinating. The weaponry.
I was gonna say, like,
that time.
I wish there was sometimes we could kind of go back to that. Maybe keep like our knowledge of internet and everything like that, maybe, but go back to a more primitive state living otherwise.
Yeah.
Where like we're not so reliant upon AI and I don't know.
Wi-Fi for everything.
Yeah.
and-
Like I mean like keep the internet. I mean like keep it for not necessarily entertainment, but for knowledge. Like
yeah.
that kind of stuff. Like I don't mean like make us like we are now, which we're all kind of, you know, slaves of it, so to speak. How many times has like the internet gone out and like we don't know what to do?
Yeah, like I mean, you sit there, you can't watch my Netflix, I can't
Yeah.
play my game,
Yeah.
can't get on YouTube, you know,
Yeah.
like
So I don't know. It kind of goes back to what I ever said originally with the whole like the scythe and cutting down grass. Like you're out there cutting the grass, yes, but you're becoming one with nature still.
yeah,
Like you're advanced enough to make things easy, but you're not too advanced to where you don't appreciate what the world's giving you.
yeah,
Whereas now we quite literally take advantage over everything. So
yeah. I mean, look at our society. We're like, hey, look at that like beautiful forest over there.
yeah,
I'm gonna build a subdivision.
that's
right
it. You know, look good right there, and all that plot of trees and things that actually give us oxygen and help
Dollar
us.
General.
Could put a Walmart right there. That's a prime location. Yeah, no, I get it, man. Like
I am all for modern amenities. I am, but like
What was
me, kind of like, you know, like as dudes, like we like to go camping and stuff like that. To just
which
kind
we
of
need to figure that out.
yes, but like, you know, just get out and be in nature, be in the world. Like that's why, like,
What do you think our job would do if we both took off the same time frame to go on a bros
they would
camping
lose
trip?
their ever loving minds. They'd tell us no, and then I'd be forced to quit because I don't request vacation time. I tell you when I'm not going to be there.
I think we should do that this year.
Just dip out.
Yeah. It's like, hey, so we're taking vacation together. Yes, together. No, maybe we should do that instead of having separate vacations this year. Anyway, I just
Be
brain thought
I'll
of things.
figure it out for 2 days.
Yeah. Figure it out for fucking 2 days, man. Like, that's all you got to do.
It's one of those like, look, like I'm that PTO time at work. I'm not like, can I please take off the 3rd and the 4th?
Yeah.
My PTO is I will not be here the 3rd and the 4th.
Yeah.
May the odds forever be in your favor.
Yeah, that's true.
Like I just,
But yeah, dude, I think that there's a lot of stuff that we have forgotten that could really benefit us nowadays from the past. Like, again, I know it's something stupid because it came from a TV series, but it's something that could totally be a real thing. The Walking Dead. There was a episode where these people come to, you know, the main cast and everything. Like, oh hey, so we have plans that we've been utilizing, and like they show them the plans to like make their community better. It's quite literally like irrigation systems and stuff like that from like medieval times.
yeah.
And I'm like, dude, yes. Like,
I mean, if we ever hit some post-apocalyptic time right now, half the world would die
oh yeah.
because we don't know how to survive.
Yeah.
You know, that's one thing I find, you know, throwback to like the Viking culture. A lot of people in like the like Norse countries like Denmark and all that,
Yeah.
they're still very big on teaching those traditions.
I was saying, like, I know in Scandinavia, dude, like they still have all those. There's modern day Vikings walking around over there as we speak.
Yeah, well, there's like actually, you know, funny thing, like all like these like strongman guys and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Statistically, you know where most of them bloodline are from,
Europe.
like like Denmark, Norway,
Yeah, Europeans.
because like, well, not just Europeans, like particularly like the Norse people.
Well, yeah, like the Northern
Because
European people.
They were like, I mean, statistically, they were these big brute barbarians.
It makes you wonder, like, if you really look at it, like the way the world is designed, like, or the way it's designed implies that it was anyway, whatever. I'll stop. the way the world is, it's awesome to me that you have all these different people who have adapted to their situations.
Mm-hmm.
Why were Scandinavians and Denmark people and everything, like, why are they so big?
Well, I mean, for one, like, they live in a very cold region.
I get
So,
that, but
like,
so
I
do the
mean-
Inuit people who live in like in Antarctica and stuff like that, and they
But look at how they live. Like, say,
True.
like, Alaskan tribes and stuff like that. They build the igloo. They hang out in the igloo. They go hunting if they need to. But Vikings were like, we're going to be big and strong because we're not only going to thrive here, we're going to thrive everywhere we go.
Yeah, like I said, it's curious to me because like you have people near the equator, like in Africa and stuff, and Brazil, they're not quite as big. Like they're usually like more slender, whatever type people. I mean, I'm not saying they can't get big, but I'm just saying like they got different skin tone and stuff, and it's the same thing up there, like in the northern parts of Europe and everything that we're talking about. Like they're very light complected people.
Yeah.
Like whiter than us, some of them.
Well, like it has a lot to do
And-
with so
I
people
know
of
you're
whatever
like, what-
bloodline.
Well, like I know you're a byproduct of your environment, right?
Well, it's not only that, but like so certain things in certain cultures throughout the world, where they ate and lived this way for like hundreds of years or whatever.
No, I get
would it
that.
eventually, like the way that your body had to be to survive there, it kind of gets ingrained in your DNA.
Yeah, no,
So
that's
then, like your children
that's what I'm
are born
I'm guessing.
naturally able to be that way.
Well, I'm guessing like I don't know how to put this. Like I know, like in Brazil and everything, in Africa, like they are darker complected because of the sun and the heat and everything. It's a form of whatever. But like the Inuit people, like they have special eyelids and like upper cheekbone to help, like when they're squinting, they're not actually squinting.
Yeah.
Like that's them with open eyes.
Yeah, well, their eyes are that way essentially to block the sun.
I was gonna say like to block the sun. I was like, and then like you have people in Norwegian areas and Scandinavia, like, dude, they're tall, like they're big, like it's crazy. Like what people in Mexico are shorter, and is it like byproduct of like your atmosphere? I'm guessing, like because I always thought like oxygen rich atmospheres you would be more able to thrive because you. Whatever reasoning, or I don't know. I guess just
yes. Well, I feel like like an oxygen-rich atmosphere, it's easier to thrive.
maybe that's
so
what
your
I'm thinking.
body doesn't have to be as
Limited?
strong in whatever to adapt. Like you're essentially your body can be lazier there.
Yeah,
Whereas you're some Viking that your tribe has lived in the mountains for 200 years. They're like the Norse mountains, and it's cold and it's very harsh year round. You have to be big, strong, brutal. Like,
yeah. It's curious to me as well because, like you have it now, like we have so much mixed stuff, which is fine. Like I'm whatever, but it's interesting like how you don't really have the differences anymore. Like they're starting to dwindle away.
yeah,
So I don't know. That could be a topic for another time.
yeah. But like, I mean, I don't know. I think we also live in a world where in the last 100 years we haven't had to adapt to much.
I was going to say we haven't really
Or
done
I'd
much.
say
to,
last 60, 70 years.
I was going to say past 60, 70 years, dude. It's been.
Like, I mean, our grandparents and stuff had like the Great Depression and all that.
I said there's a lot of changes and stuff that were happening then, and more or less it's been the same here. The changes that are happening with us is more economy, if anything. But like as far
Unfortunately,
as
the changes that are happening to us physically and mentally are negative
yeah,
because we haven't had to adapt to survive. Yeah, but It'll go off in a minute.
You're good.
But yeah, like we haven't had to adapt to much, so I don't.
Your dog's like, your phone's ringing. That's hilarious.
If it picked up on the mic, like, excuse my Power Ranger nerddom there.
It's just funny.
32 years old with Go Green Ranger as my ringtone.
Yeah, I will forever hold on to that stuff. So no worries here. But yeah, I'm just enthralled by it still, because like the real life of it's amazing how they were able to survive with it and everything and really thrive from it. And then the fantasy side of it is like, dude, that'd be so cool if it was a thing. And
yeah,
like, I don't know. There's so much magic still to have with it, like your imagination is quite literally unlimited if you so choose it to be. And I'm really fortunate, I guess, that I still have that imagination.
Yeah, I think our generation
Maybe
is one of the last to have an imagination.
Yeah, that's true. Everything's being like portrayed for people nowadays. Like, there's no like envisioning it in your own way. It's already been done, so everybody just goes off of that.
Well, yeah, like, I have this conversation with my son all the time. I'll be like, playing video games is cool, whatever, if that's your thing, but I'm like, you should really, read some books.
Yeah. Things
like that, kind of imagine your own whatever,
Yeah.
Like, so could you imagine? I can't think of a really good example, but just like video games have come such a long way for decades. Entertainment, TV shows, because of people's imaginations.
Yeah.
Now we're at the point where it's gone stale, and we're just twisting everything slightly different. Like, so like take video games, like in horror games, like zombie games and all that. Let's be real. In the last 15, 20 years, most of them are some variation of like a shooter, hack and slash, whether you're killing zombies, vampires, whatever.
There's only so much you can do with it, though, but yeah.
But like, give me like an original tale.
Original storyline or something.
Like
original design, maybe, is what you're probably going for.
And I get it, like they try to piggyback off tradition just for sales. But like everything that isn't, Twilight bullshit, vampire related is some tie-in to Count Dracula, and
yeah. It's always something to do with Dracula.
Like, give me, someone give me a really dope vampire story about, the if we're gonna tie in Dracula, give me something interesting like the bastard son of Dracula that no one knew about.
Yeah. I got a couple stories I can give you then. Castlevania's a good storyline.
Yeah.
Like, it's really good. And that Warhammer 40K stuff I'm really into right now. There's an entire like vampiric legion as well as werewolf legion. Like, there's they call it the Blood Angels.
Yeah.
They quite literally have a thing called the Black Rage that while in combat, they start craving blood and go into a berserker style of rage. And as they're slaughtering their enemies, they drink their blood. It's pretty cool. And then the werewolf thing is space wolves. They so genetically modified by their surroundings, they are trying to become more like werewolves. And they're the like executioners of the Imperium. Like, anytime there's a big bad that happens, they send those in.
Sorry, you talking about all this just kind of made my head spiral for a second, and
I kind of saw that.
well, like I had this like idea for like a really awesome story, game, movie. I don't know, but hear me out. A tribe or whatever of Vikings back in the days of Bjorn Ironside and all that
Yeah.
comes across a werewolf. The whole tribe essentially gets turned into werewolves.
Uh-huh.
So now you have like a tribe of werewolf berserkers trying to take over Europe.
It'd be kind of cool. Yeah, there definitely needs to be something done with a lot of the original stuff has kind of fallen at the wayside. We'll go back to the Dragonheart thing. Like I didn't even know there's like a fifth one now. I think there's like 6.
Yeah, there's a few, but like after what, like 2 or 3?
After the second one, the second one they tried too hard, and then they just continued with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, like there needs to be more original ideas and stuff. People aren't really doing that much now anymore. It's either a reboot or a remake. By remake, I mean like they just make the graphics different, or
yeah, we're just like remastering.
Yeah, like whether it's a movie, game, or whatever. That's all they're doing.
And
right
by
now.
the way, I'm gonna be the asshole to say this. If they're doing all these remasters, they are missing so many gems.
Yeah, they are.
Like, that's a whole nother video for another video whatever episode for another day.
Episode video for another time.
But like I just love, and I mean, especially when you look into like the horror lore of like all these different medieval cultures, like
Well, see, if I'm not mistaken, there's actually a game coming that takes place in like a medieval England where like a zombie apocalypse is happening, and you are a knight having to get back to your kingdom by slaughtering these like little villages of people and tribes of people that are like becoming mutated by this plague.
that's kind of awesome.
I can't remember the name of the game, but it looks phenomenal.
It sounds like a hack and slash, and I'm about that.
It sounds like a Left 4 Dead zombie game, but in medieval times, which I'm all up for. Like that's I'd be excited to be a knight slaughtering demons. Like that'd be cool. Like that's original to me. Like where has there ever been a film? Army of Darkness doesn't count. That doesn't count. I have never seen another film or any story of like knights felling zombies. But
So hear me out, story like that, but then you take it a step further. You have like the dragons and all that.
yeah,
The dragon gets killed but gets the zombie virus.
yeah,
Zombie dragons.
that'd be crazy. That would be
some.
not
That's what nightmares are made.
I was gonna say that's terrifying.
Just
But yeah.
a giant bloodthirsty dragon.
Yeah, I mean, it's already like taking its natural hungering and stuff and increasing it by 1,000. But yeah, dude, I think my whole shit with medieval stuff is there's still so much magic to be had by it, and people who do realize it, like, are the ones who are like, oh, look at that weird nerdy guy out there, or that weird person. Like, let them do them, man. Like,
Hey, I know you and me have talked about this some. I still want a sword wall in my house.
yeah,
Like samurai swords, Viking axes, broadswords.
you have to learn how to use them.
Oh, the ones I'd put on the wall are actually there to be decoration.
Oh, okay, so you wouldn't know how to use them. How
I'm not
dare
saying
you?
I wouldn't get one to learn how to use too,
Yeah,
but like, I mean, like a real like usable katana is not a cheap thing to get.
make one yourself.
Yeah, because I just got my blacksmithing rig
Yeah.
outside.
You do. I saw it. I saw it out there. No, that's something else too. I think is just finessing.
I think we should go
Fascinating.
somewhere like and try to learn blacksmithing.
Do you mean modern blacksmithing or old blacksmithing?
I don't care.
Just blacksmithing.
Like,
I wouldn't mind it.
it'd be awesome. Like, I actually know a guy that has a whole blacksmithing setup. He's a friend of a friend's, but he's, there's like with autistic people, there's like, as far as they go from either like completely nonverbal or like they get good at everything really fast, but they're done with it.
Yeah.
Like, it's like autistic people and ADHD people working together are horrible, because ADHD people, we can't get a damn thing done because we're like, I need to do this, but hey, what's that over there? And there's this. And autistic people are like, I have to finish this before I do anything else.
Yeah.
Well, this guy, he decided to learn blacksmithing. Got everything he needed, built like a couple axes, swords. I think he even built like armor, like chest plate for himself.
Yeah.
Was like, this is cool. I'm done with it now. Like, the mutual friend of ours was like, he has a whole shop dedicated to things like projects or things he got into. And like, basically once the TISM was like, all right, we're done with this, he's like, I'm done.
Huh.
Like, he has like motorcycle he rebuilt because he decided he was going to do it. I don't think he rides it anymore, because last time I seen him, he got a really bad motorcycle wreck. So I think he's done with bikes now, or he's going to master riding them. I don't know. One of the two.
One of the two.
He's going to become like the best stunt rider ever, and then be like, I'm over it.
I'm trying to think of anything else that I might know of from this topic, because like I'm kind of running on thin now. Because I never really get to talk about it much. I just, spur it out a little bit here and there. But like, there's more I want to talk about, but it doesn't really have to do with like the stuff. Like, it's like blacksmithing now I want to talk about, because people always see blacksmithing as being like that thing you see on TV from that Deadliest Weapon thing or whatever, or whatever it is. What was that blacksmithing show was, where it's like, got that weird guy in there who's like, it will kill.
Forged in Fire.
Forged in Fire, yeah.
Which has an awesome show.
Yeah, it's not bad. I just don't like the weird guys like, it will kill. Like, why you gotta say it like that?
I just love like when they make a weapon, like, now we get to test it out.
Yes.
That would be like, here's my thing. I want to learn blacksmithing, but here's like, once we get done making the axe, I'm like, what do I get to cut with it?
Yeah.
Let me cut something.
Yeah. Let me do something with this.
But yeah, I don't know. Medieval culture in general, like, I mean, it spans the world.
Yeah.
So like,
it does.
There's so much you can get into. Just, we just talk about our favorites all we want, but
yeah, I definitely do a little bit more research, I think, on it, because
maybe do another episode, like, kind of diving into different parts of it, like, say, more Roman, Greek.
Like, I call the Roman.
When we get into, like, especially Roman and Greek mythology, like,
I'm gonna have fun with that. I love Roman and Greek mythology.
I mean, our generation, we grew up with, like, Hercules, all that. Like, I mean, say what we want to, but our kids, our generation, our introduction to Greek mythology was Hercules.
I mean, mine was Xena, but yeah.
Well, to be fair, Xena crossed over with Hercules too.
Yeah, that did, but like, I remember like,
you didn't learn a damn thing about mythology from Xena.
Yes, I did.
You learned.
Shut
Xena
up.
Wore like really hot leather outfits.
Lucy Lawless is amazing. You shut your mouth.
She
still is.
I'm not knocking it.
I would knock it. Sorry, I had to throw that in there.
But like, so actually, funny, Greek mythology. There's a new series on Netflix, and I forgot the name of it, but it's like a little 8-episode thing.
Yeah,
it's about the Greek gods, like in modern times. Zeus is played by Jeff Goldblum.
I've seen it. My mom was watching it the other day.
It is ridiculous, but it's kind of awesome too.
That's what she was saying. I was like, I need to sit down and watch it.
He has the same personality that he has like when he's in like Thor Ragnarok.
I was saying Thor Ragnarok. Yeah, I got that exact same vibe.
Just imagine that guy as Zeus.
That should have been the Zeus we got. Russell Crowe is fine, but goddamn it.
Yeah. I mean, different tones for different movies.
Yeah, I guess. That's a really good movie, though, too, is Gladiator.
Yeah.
That's a good movie. We talk about movies, too, but I don't think we could.
I mean, that's
too
a whole
much.
Other, we'll save referencing like Gladiator and stuff like that for the do an episode on Roman culture, mythology. I don't know.
Culture. It'd be
Roman stuff says.
Well, I know that, like I said, I'll leave it at this, but that movie Gladiator is a pretty good representation of like how things were, like the deceit, the deception, all that kind of stuff. The like you're gonna get your get, like I'm coming back for you,
Yeah.
like.
And just I'm going to say this: Gladiator, one of the best top 10 movies of all time.
Yeah,
I will fight anyone.
it's got a really good story behind it, is why.
Yeah, and
it's really
that
good
was
acting.
One of my favorite Russell Crowe movies.
Really good acting, really good, and like I said, a lot of it, like there's a lot of it that's tied around like the honor and everything of who he is and what he's doing is like John Wick type stuff, so to speak. Like it was John Wick before there was John Wick. Like it's just a good movie. Kind of want to watch it now. Damn it.
It's pretty great. But I think we'll kind of wrap this one up on that. Yeah, medieval mythologies, fantasy, and all that. It's sounds like Saturday morning cartoons for me. But
yeah,
good old Saban's good old Knights of Tiranoog or whatever.
Oh my goodness, I remember
They're
that.
really weird medieval Power Rangers ripoff. I'm not even going to go there, but
That was a good show.
it was good, but it wasn't really good.
It was great. You shut your face.
It was just because it was kind of like Power Rangers. It's the only reason I watched it.
Oh, nothing to do with the fact that it was knights of elemental power and they each had a separate type of dragon they used. Not at all. Yeah. Shut your face.
Medieval Power Rangers.
Whatever, man. Whatever.
There's yeah. I'm not going to go into the spiral I want to go to on that right now, but that's a show they could revamp the story and do something cool with. I'd be down with.
I wish they would. There's a lot of things from past they should definitely remake, and it'd be a hit nowadays.
But anyways, this has been fun. Episode 20.
Yep.
Of,
Feels like we've been doing this for years.
I know. Well, I mean, almost like half a year now.
Since it's only been a half a year. but
a lot of fun stuff. I mean, we've been having these conversations for like 20 plus years.
That's probably what I was thinking. Excuse me. I'm so sorry, dude. I am still beat from this weekend.
Every time you yawn, I just want to be like, all right, guys, we're the 2 of the 7 dwarfs. I'm happy. This is sleepy.
This is drowsy.
Grumpy, he didn't want to participate today.
No, not today. Like I said, yeah, stuff this weekend really kicked my butt. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, I think we'll jump off here, get some food, and get some rest, and get ready for work tomorrow, man.
Yeah, it's going to be a thing.
Thank all y'all who've been listening. Follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. We're on Amazon Music as well as Spotify. Facebook hasn't really been letting us share the Spotify stuff. But,
Facebook don't like us right now.
So, fuck you, Zuckerberg. But
that's probably why they don't like
I
us.
don't care. I really don't care. But we just really enjoy having these conversations and enjoy anyone who does listen,
Yeah.
So hit us up on there. Send us random. If you have facts about things we talk about,
if you have some
us.
insight on stuff we talk about, let us know. Like, we're not trying to be ignorant. We're not trying to be stupid. Whatever we say,
we're by no means like not intelligent on most of this stuff. So
yeah. This is just from our own thoughts, from our own.
Want to correct us? Feel free to.
Yes, and enlighten us help us learn. Like,
And if it's interesting stuff, like hell, we'll even go on record stating we were wrong.
yeah,
Probably, maybe.
No, we would. I would. I don't know about you. Because I love learning about this kind of stuff. If what I'm saying is false, cool. Let me know so I don't keep spreading nonsense.
Anyways, y'all give us a follow, give us a listen, give us a share. If we have not offended you yet, please wait your turn. We will get to you very shortly and catch you on the next one.